I'm Jessie Draper, the Valley Girl. Let's talk business.
Katalyst is Ashton Kutcher's production company. Anthony Batt is the president of Katalyst and former founder of Buzz Media. Batt is currently helping pioneer the way of new media with Katalyst's Thrash lab. Well, here we are with Anthony Batt, president of Katalyst. So how you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Now tell me, first of all, give us a brief overview. What does Katalyst do?
Sure. So it's a great question. Everyone asks me that. So originally when Ashton, and he's the founder, and with another guy named Jason Goldberg.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Just to clarify. They founded Katalyst as a production company, traditional Hollywood production company, and they made several TV series, Punk'd being probably the one you know the most.
Yeah, okay.
And so as that kind of went down the road, both the founders realized that like selling content to networks is inefficient and they don't own a lot of the IP that they produce. And so when digital started to become more and more ubiquitous, about 4 years ago, they decided to actually start doing digital in a heavy way. And they had no sort of no master plan at all. They just were like, let's get involved. So Ashton sort of adopted digital and really kind of became a leader in it by just using it so much.
I think it's great that he did that because a lot of, not many, actors have sort of taken that tip,
I mean, most actors are really focused on just acting. Ashton is like a Renaissance person. Like he does so many things. So he's really able at doing that. And he's also an expert in sort of understanding creative, so he can look at things and understand why they should be doing it and what should they be doing. And so as he started getting involved in digital, we grew up digital practice. I joined about a year ago. I'm the founder of a company called Buzz Media.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. And so I want to hear about Buzz Media.
Katalyst now does digital, full stop. So brands.
Purely digital.
No, we'll do digital and television. So we have Punk'd coming out on March 29th.
Great.
Which is amazing. Ashton's not in it. It's a whole new cast. It's an ensemble cast. So that's the TV business. The digital business we're one of the companies that got selected to do a Google channel. So we have a channel that's called Thrash
Google,
Lab.
so one of the YouTube, great.
So we have a channel called.
It's all in that big Google thing.
We are one of the companies that got selected. So we have a channel called Thrash Lab,
which
is a cultural channel on creativity. So the process of creative and like really creative video products. So that's what Katalyst does. It does a lot of stuff in digital media and it does a lot of stuff in television.
And what are you working on right now that you're really excited about?
I'm 100% excited about Thrash Lab. That's why we have a staff here actually like looking around to find creatives to kind of tell their story. We think that there's a lot of video online, but there's a lot of people that want to learn how it's made.
Oh, cool.
So for example, this interview, we have fellows back here actually recording it. Like we would actually put a camera on them as well as us. Awesome. And we would tell the story of like what we're talking about as well as how they work. If you think about it, a creative now usually has to produce everything themselves. And so we're actually going to ask people to pitch us ideas. If we like the idea, we'll help tune the idea up and we'll give them money to make it.
That's great.
So these will be like, it could be a 5-minute piece, it could be a 15-minute piece. And so it's a really kind of turning the tables on it. And then what we'll do, since Katalyst has relationships with film companies and TV, we will actually try to adopt those creators and help them if they want to go to TV or film. Since we're a production company, we're in Hollywood, we can help them build their IP and get them placed properly. And what inspired us was really what Paul Graham was doing with YC.
Right, amazing.
Yeah, amazing, right? And so they really know how to take care of entrepreneurs. And we thought in Hollywood, since there's a methodology there that's unique to its geo, just like Paul Graham's to Silicon Valley, we're trying to do that with creators in our way.
I love that. That's really cool.
So we're really excited about that. And that's one of Katalyst's first products. We have another product that we'll release. We'll release more digital products because we're interested in now that I'm sort of running the company, is really building sort of IP that we own.
Right. Oh, that's great. Well, so, now that Katalyst is in the digital space, where would you say that new media is really headed? Because it's just a crazy world out there right now.
It's exciting and totally crazy.
Yeah.
I think video is going to continue to grow. I think there's so many people that feel like they want to tell a story, so I think that's going to grow, and you're going to bring in a whole new sort of entrepreneur. I think that we're not even close to understanding what what data can do with new media?
Data is, I don't know what it is. Everyone is like, data speaks. You need data. And it's true. You do, I mean, it's so much better to pitch something with data. It's like, just prove it with the numbers.
If you think about it, it's like data has been made available to so many people in the last 5 years.
In so many different areas.
You can visualize it, you can learn from it, you can interpret. The coolest thing about data, and I used to be an engineer, is really looking at patterns in data. And so now that you can visualize data, you can see patterns. So I think as you see patterns, you'll be able to see new problems you can solve with using, classic web technology, or even actually just going to explore stories.
How amazing is it that today you can create data for a creative business?
Yeah.
It's just such a different thing. It's not only math now, it's like, video.
I think that technology is invading all of us as creatives, and we're able to use data as a way to just tell a story much better. So I think new media is going to continue to grow rapidly, and it's going to really challenge sort of the incumbents. And I think TV is a huge incumbent that's going to get challenged a lot, and I think the brand and advertising world is going to continue to be challenged by aggressive, young, creative startups.
What do you think about screens? Which screen will we all be on?
So I think screens is interesting. I think most people want to have the content that they want on their screen. So I think that the boundary of like, this is their screen and this is my screen is breaking down. It's just like, I want to have my screen. So if it's in the movie theater, like, why can't I also, if I want to pay for it, why can't I also have it on my iPad screen? If I want to pay for it, because that's the way consumers work. The interesting thing about media right now is that there's more demand than there is supply. And that's an interesting economic situation. Usually is resolved quickly. Do you use Netflix?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Definitely.
So like my wife and I watch Sons of Anarchy. We'll exhaust like
great show.
Great
by the
show.
way.
But we want more, but there is no more.
Yeah.
Because the TV model can't deliver it fast enough on an economic basis. So there's a problem with the supply. So I think, screens and demand, I think it's all going to change so rapidly in the next, I think 5 years we're going to see some new networks like Machinima.
Yeah, I know Machinima. I don't know, it's just such an exciting time, I think, for new media, and I'm just really excited to see what it brings, really.
Yeah, totally, me too. I mean, I mentioned that I was the founder of Buzz Media.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, actually.
In 2004, when I was raising money for Buzz Media, I used to go to the Sand Hill Row and try to explain that I thought the next media revolution is not going to come from the center, it's going to come from the edge. And they couldn't really get their head around that. So we built a business, and what we were trying to explain.
What did you mean by the edge? You meant?
So I meant the edge meaning like, you're essentially making this media right now in a hotel room, and you eventually started that probably from maybe even your house at one point.
Yeah.
That's the edge. And whereas the center was generally like Hollywood or New York.
Got it.
And I said it's going to get significantly challenged. And so in 2003, I was early, but like in around 2006 and 2007, when I started raising more money, I was able to buy brands that were developed in people's homes. So like cool. Stereo Gum or Absolute Punk or any of these brands, and we were able to give them a back end and a sales force, and that is now 45 million uniques in America.
Oh my gosh! Wait, yeah. So what is Buzz Media?
So Buzz Media, is really is the parent company that sort of owns many pop culture blogs, mostly text and photos.
Okay.
Not video, text and photos, and so we have a pop culture channel, sort of like headlined by Celeb Buzz, and then we have a bunch of music blogs, Stereo Gum, Absolute Punk, and so it's about 45, and we're not an ad network because we own about 38 of them.
But you really learned about going viral early.
Yeah, and social, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
In 2003, when we first started BuzzNet, we were first putting just photos up from camera phones, and if you looked at the early interviews, people would be like, "Do you think phones will have cameras on them always?" And we were just like, "You're so retarded." Yes, but and now like Instagram, I'm an addict of Instagram. So we were very close to the engineering of social and sort of that blog world. And so we think that there's millions of people that still want to do that. They'll do that with video, and they'll do that with blogs. I think blogs now have been sort of forgotten in the social media landscape. People talk about Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and blogs are left alone, but blogs are an awesome way to feed content out to people.
Oh, definitely. And I think they're a great way for even just companies to get started. You know, you just
Totally.
start, or brands to get started.
Well, when we put out Thrash Lab 3 days ago, we started off, even though it's a Google channel, a YouTube channel, we started off by putting out a blog. Because we find our audience would actually adopt the content there first, then go into YouTube to watch more.
Awesome. That's awesome. I think
That's my team, not me. So I'll tell them you said it was awesome.
Well, you know, I want to ask you, because you've had this experience with Buzz Media, and now you know you're running Katalyst with Ashton. What is one tip you have for entrepreneurs? And I would love if it was sort of specific in the new media world.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think the interesting entrepreneurs have to be completely crazy, right? Because they're trying to say that they're going to build something from scratch and disrupt an industry. So I think that you have to be really bold, and I don't know if that's a tip or more of a personality that you have to have. But I think in respect to new media, I think that you have to really be comfortable in sticking to your passion and to your beliefs, but really understand how to learn and adopt as you proceed forward.
And pivot.
It's contrary. It's pivot, but pivot not so far away from what you wanted to start. Because if you're a really good entrepreneur, what you really, really are starting is probably something that's going to challenge or disrupt an industry. But if you pivot too soon or too often, you may leave what you were starting to do and just become something that you're not. And I think as entrepreneurs start off, they really are that person and that company and that team. And if you pivot too much, you become something that you're not, and that's really when trouble starts to happen. And so it's like learn and adopt, fast fails, but stay very focused on what you were trying to originally accomplish.
On the big vision, on the long-term vision.
Yes.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much for being on this show. You're just great.
Thank you very much. This was fun. I appreciate the affirmation.
I'm like the Valley Girl.
I'm like Anthony Batt of Katalyst.
Well, that was fun.
That was awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.